exactly is it that what exactly am I doing? What exactly and why exactly am I doing it? So it helps children to understand the process and helps them to become limitless. So you're not just going to be putting them into, okay, when mom or dad or when the authority figure is not there, then there's nothing to do. There's no rule, there are no rules to follow. But then when the authority figure is not there, they understand, because like I said, it serves like a compass for them. So they understand the fact that, okay, yes, we're doing this because of this. And they can easily, reference to whatever it is that they want to do. Like I always say that as Muslims, alhamdulillah, we have principles. We have principles that are guiding us. So we don't need to go elter skelter. We don't need to do things like we do not even have anything that is guiding us. We have the Quran, we have the Hadith. So it is easy for us to teach our children with them, having our values around those things, because it's going to be easy for children to always fall back to that, even when we are no longer present in their lives, right? So one thing that value does is that it guides the heart. So the heart of a child who has been raised with value is guided. While rules only regulate behavior, that's what rules does. Rule is just going to regulate behavior. We just have this behavior, we're just doing this. Yes, that behavior is there. But then, if we want something that actually guides the heart of our children, if we want something that they can actually continue to, hold on to, we need to put values in place. It is not enough for us to just set rules, like I said, right? So value is something that shapes the internal motivation. So children are motivated to do the things that they want to do internally because there's a value. So you want to differentiate between, okay, you must sweep this house, right? That's just a rule. The rule is that we have to sweep the house. But then you want to differentiate it from a value that says that in our family, we uphold cleanliness in our family because cleanliness is half of faith, right? Cleanliness is half of faith. That is, something that we're taking. We have a reference for that. So child is not just seeing it as, okay, we have to sweep. Why are we sweeping? You're telling your child that, okay, yes, we have to do this because it is half of faith. So before we can say that we are religious, we are Muslims, then we have to be clean. Do we understand? So it's different from just saying you have to do this. From, okay, yes, we need to do this because, and that's why a lot of children always ask why. They always ask why questions. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? Different questions like that. They would definitely ask. But then, if we're not always in a place whereby we want to answer, or if we're always in a place whereby we say something like, we say something like, okay, I said it because you just have to do it. I said it because that's what I want. We will always miss it with our children. We will definitely always miss it with our children. And this is why it is very important for us to put values over rules. So how does this make children thrive? It makes them thrive because, just like I have said, even when you are no longer present, even when you are no longer there, your children are able to carry on with those things that you have put down. There wouldn't be hypocrisy. Even you, as a parent, are able to hold on to that standard that you are setting. Are we getting it? So that's the main reason why it is important if we want to actually raise children that thrive. And when we're saying children who thrive, we need to we need to know that this is something that is very important. Values are to be set, not just rules. Not just rules. Value is going to be holding people to a higher accountability than rules. That's another thing. So values shapes internal motivation, while rules just create external compliance. So children are just going to, they are going to comply with the fact that, okay, yes, we just want to do this because mommy said so. We just want to do this because daddy said so. And the moment those people are not there, the moment the authority figure are not there, they see it as, no, let's just, because of course we'll definitely get to a point whereby we would not always be there. So it is those values that will actually keep our children going rather than just setting rules. That is the main thing that will actually make children to thrive, because it's not just about rules, it's not just do's and don'ts, it's about the values that we have inculcated into our family system, right? So that is the first rule, the first principle of raising children who thrive. We need, and that's why if you've taken one or two courses from me this year, I have tried as much as possible to make sure that everyone puts in system their family values, their family mission and vision, because that is going to serve as a guide for everyone in the family. This is something that is very important. And of course, if we're doing this, it is something we have to live up to. It is not something we just want our children to be able to do, and we are not even living up to it. So rules are made to be broken, but values are made to last. Values are there to last. That's exactly how it is, right? So that is the first principle. And the second one that we're going to be talking about is the principle of safe and secure system. I would appreciate if someone can help me put that in the comment section. The principle of safe and secure system. What do we mean by this? This is where we have, lot of talk, this evening. Principle of safe and secure system. A safe system is not only about physical system. It's not just about, when people hear about safety, what comes to people's mind is, I want to make sure that my child is safe, my child is, nothing is wrong with them, and those things. But then it is not just about that. It is not just about physical safety. It has to do with emotional safety too. So when people hear safety, that's what comes to their head. But when I'm talking about safety and security here, it goes beyond physical safety. It goes beyond making sure that our children are not hurt or something. They are not hurt physically, right? So it's not just about protecting your children, right? So, and we need to know that it cuts across so many things that we put in place in our home, in our family system, right? It's not only about physical. So safety for a child is going to mean different things. Safety for a child is going to come from different places. It's going to come from different things that we need to put in place as parents that will make children to actually thrive, that will not just make them to survive. Please excuse me. I need to turn on the fan. Yeah, so sorry about that. Right, so there are so many things that we actually need to put in place for us to actually create that safe and that secure environment for our child. Right, so what is the first thing when it comes to the principle of safety and security? The first thing is predictability. Predictability. Predictability is a thing that helps a child to thrive. When you have a family system that is predictable, the children understand the structures and the system that is put in place. Children are going to thrive better in such an environment than an environment that there is no predictability. Nothing is predictable there. Do we get it? So it's a thing that helps children to the inability to create a system in your home is something that is going to limit the children, right? So unpredictability is just is going to be there for your children. Your children are not going to nothing is going to be stable. The environment is not going to be safe. Don't forget, we're talking about the principle of safety and security. The environment is not going to be safe for you because you're not predictable. They don't even know what to expect. They don't know what not to expect. They don't know what to do. They don't know what not to do. So what happens in that type of situation is that the environment is chaotic for that child. So people would say that unpredictability is an enemy of parenting. If you actually want to raise your children intentionally, you have to be predictable. Let your children know that yes, this has happened and this is what is going to happen, or this hasn't happened. This is exactly what is going to happen. This is something that is very key. So when your children, when we say that you have built a predictable system, it's just a system whereby your children understand, okay, yes, these are the things that are necessary for us to do. These are the things that we do not do. These are the things that are going to happen if we do this. These are the things that are not going to happen if we do not do this, and things like that. A system that is predictable. I like to use, our religion as an example. We understand whatever it is based on principle. The religion is based on principle. And that's why it is easy for us to practice it. You can imagine if, this comes today, this comes tomorrow, different things every time. We're going to be confused. And as a matter of fact, we won't even, we won't practice that religion like we should practice it. This is something that we need to look into. So you create a safe system by creating routines and structures that works for your children. And your children get acquainted to it. So, like I was explaining last week, you put a structure in place whereby it's not going to be like a habit. So that's why we always say, something like parenting is about you, because of course, as your children are growing, your child is a year, your child is 2 years, and that's why it brings a lot when parents say things like, "My child is this so age, I don't need these things." We do not know that we are missing window of opportunities if we do not start the things that we're supposed to start early, if we do not start them early. So your child is 2 years old, for example, and you want your child to be able to get used to a particular routine, which means that you will be the one to do the work. You really want to put the structures in place. You really want to put down the routine such that you're going to help your child to get used to that, no matter how young your child is. Because children thrive based on routines, based on structures. This is something you want to look into. So children knowing what to expect around the home, either when things go well or when they err or when they make mistakes, helps them to feel safe and secured. So they are not just in a place whereby I think I heard the story of a boy who was sent on an errand and lost lost the money that was used to send um that he was given to get something, and the boy couldn't go back home. And he was so scared, he didn't even know what to do. If you had a predictable system of, okay, yes, this happened, it was a mistake, however, we'll face the consequences, and not just a place whereby it's just of fear and things like that, then the child will definitely come. But that child will still feel safe. Yes, the fear might still be there, or the sadness might still be there for that child, that, okay, yes, I have lost this. However, creating a safe system is helping your child to know that, okay, yes, this has happened, and this is what is going to be the consequences of this. So they understand. That is predictability. They understand that, okay, yes, this is what is going to happen. So when a child feels supported, supporting a child is also creating a safe system for a child. So, example, a child loves doing certain things. He likes to draw, he likes to write, he likes to do the things that actually make him happy or make her happy. When you support a child like that on whatever it is that is their interest, that of course aligns with your family values, then a child is going to feel safe, knowing that they are able to explore in their family, knowing that they are able to carry on things, they're able to do things that actually, that is of interest to them. It gives a child a sense of safety and security. So this is something that is very important and we want to look into, right? We're talking about the principle of safety and security right now. And we're saying that the first thing you want to do when we talk about principle of safety and security, the things that you want to put in place is not just about the house is not burned down and all of those things. It's about the things that you put in place as a parent. That is what gives your child that sense of safety and security. And we spoke about predictability first. You have to be predictable. If you get to houses that are chaotic, once you get there, or that are toxic, you definitely know, because there will be no structures, there will be no systems, there will be nothing in place to put people on check, like this is how we do our things here. So when we talk about culture, yes, it's a way of life. So it's just like saying that, yes, this is our culture in this family. So predictability. I spoke about children being supported. It is still part of a safety system, to the principle of safety and security. So when a child feels supported in whatever it is that they do, even when they fail, we're going to get there, because failure is also a part of it. Even when they fail, they know that, okay, yes, it's okay, but then how can we move forward? How can we be better? That's how we can reach children who actually thrive. Not a child who is saying that, no, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to study, all those fights that we had with our parents growing up back then. This is what I want to study, and we hear things like, no, you have to do medicine, no, you have to do engineering and things like that. A child is not going to be safe. is not going to feel safe in that environment, that child will not thrive. Even if they go on to do, they're just going to be doing whatever it is that they're doing because my parents want this. Okay, let me just satisfy them so as to keep my own sanity. Right. The next thing that actually, brings the sense of safety and security is discipline. We spoke about discipline, and this is why we're talking about, this topic under discipline this month. Right. So discipline is a core thing. It is core for you to be able to attain, safety for your child. If you are not disciplined enough to put the structures in place and follow through those structures, your child is still going to go back to having a chaotic environment, having an environment that is not still safe for your child. So it is important for you to know when we say discipline, we already explained, what discipline is. So it is not just about you being everywhere. It is about putting systems and structure in place and actually following through. So discipline is structure, doing a set of things that you don't always feel like doing. So you don't feel like doing it, but you're supposed to do it and you are doing it, even when you do not feel like doing it. So if you're always in that space, as as the model that you have for your children, it is easier for your children to follow through than when you are not disciplined and you feel that you want to raise disciplined children. It is not something that is always possible. So you remember when we spoke about what discipline is and what discipline is not in our in our session last week. So it is structure. So before you hold your children to a particular standard, a standard of you have to do this, you have to read, you have to finish this, you have to finish this. Make sure that you have exceeded that standard, or to the least you have met that standard. That is what is going to make it make sense for your children. So you don't want to set expectations. You don't want to set standard that you yourself cannot meet or are not even meeting, because your children are just looking at you like this. And one thing about it is that children will definitely, they will figure us out. They will figure us out. They will be able to say that, is it this? Mommy that says a different thing and does a different thing. They will figure us out because they are growing. They are growing. They will understand. And they will either look at us like someone who is serious or look at us as someone who is unserious. They will easily figure us out. So it is important that before we can, like I always tell people that, yes, we always want to be in that space whereby we say things like, I want to be very proud of my child, or I'm proud of my child. But the truth about it is that you should be able to build yourself in a way that your child is also proud of you. You want to raise children who thrive. But the question is, are you thriving in whatever it is that you are doing? This is a reflection question for everyone. Are you thriving in everything that you're doing? Or even if you've not gotten to that place, do you have a goal that you're moving towards? Do you have something that you are doing that is helping you to take one step at a time to get to wherever it is that you're going to? So are you thriving in your own field, irrespective of what you do? Are you thriving? Because that is going to be like a yardstick. Everyone would say that, yes, we want our children to be better than us. We want our children to be better than us in everything. But then, are we even good? Are we even good before we can say that, yes, we want our children to be better? That's the question. So you have to be able to, meet up with that standard that you also set for your children. This is something that is going to help your children also. Right. So if you are still attributing your discipline to, the aggressiveness, inability to control your anger, eating your children, that is the highest level of indiscipline. Do you know why? Because it requires no skill at all. I'd appreciate if someone can help me put that in the comment section. If you're still in a place whereby you're being aggressive, you can't control your emotions, you're hitting your children and doing all of those things, you need to know that it is the highest level of indiscipline, because it doesn't take you any skill to do all of those things. You don't need to learn anything before you do it. It's you have every resources to use to do it. And that's why our parents back then would take anything that is close to them to actually do it. It doesn't require any skill. So that is the highest level of indiscipline. That's something that we need to know. It is the highest level of indiscipline. So we need to, first of all, be in a place whereby we ourselves are disciplined before we can actually say we want to raise children who are also disciplined. This is something that is key. So you should not define your own discipline with those things, because that's not what discipline is. And if you actually want to raise children who thrive, we need to raise them to be disciplined. We need to raise them to be disciplined, because come to think of it, there's nothing you want to do, there's nothing you want to succeed at now and even before. There's nothing you want to succeed at that you don't need that quality of discipline. If you do not have it, there's every possibility that you won't be able to get it. So when there is indiscipline in the home, children do not feel safe. Children do not feel safe. Don't forget, we're talking about the principle of safety and security. Children are not going to feel safe if a house is not curated in a way that there are systems and structures to be followed. Children are not going to be disciplined, because there's nothing you want to hold them accountable for. Nothing. There's nothing you want to hold them accountable for. So being safe isn't, children doing anything that they want to do. When we talk about safety, when we say that children are safe, it is them understanding, okay, yes, this is the puzzle. This is where we are going to, and this is how we are going to get there together as a family. So it is important for us to, show everyone what the end of the puzzle is going to look like, and guide everyone towards achieving it. This is something that is very important. So it is not about raising children who are not disciplined. Before you can say that you have created an environment of safety and security for your children, you have to have systems and structures in place. This is something that is important. This is something that we can't do without it if we want to raise children who are actually disciplined, if we want to raise children who will eventually thrive. Because a stage will come whereby it is going to be, we spoke about self-discipline also last week, and we said that whatever disciplinary strategy that you're using, if it is not raising your children to be self-disciplined, you have missed it. You have messed up that child. Because when that child gets to that stage whereby they can make decisions, they can do anything they want to do, they would not even think about doing the things that doesn't even make them comfortable already. Because they're already in that place whereby, that comfort zone of do anything you want to do. So you have to be disciplined. You have to create a system, a home environment that is disciplined before you can raise children who are going to thrive. Are we getting it? Are you with me? I feel alone. Please, can you hear me? It looks like the messages are dropping in a different place and I'm on a different place. Okay. Okay, I think I can see them now. Thank you. Okay, thank you. You're with me. So yes, we'll go on. Right. So that's it for discipline. You need it. It's a call. It's a call if you want to raise children that are going to thrive. Right. So another thing that you need to know is that, like we said before, children feel safer when you have the system and when you have the structures in place, right? They understand boundaries. They understand what they should do and what they should not do. And not just that, they understand why they are doing it and why they are not doing it. This is something that is important. Another safe system that you can create is normalizing mistakes. Is normalizing mistakes. You see, a lot of the time, because I always say this, that because that was the template that was given to us, we always see mistakes as things that, oh yeah, I'm in trouble, this has happened. Because of course that was what we experienced growing up. If you actually want to raise children that are going to thrive, then you have to normalize mistakes in your home. You have to normalize mistakes around the home, because a child making mistake is a sign that your child is learning. It's a sign that your child is trying. So if you become very harsh, if you become, if you become harsh on your children when they make mistakes, your environment won't be safe for your children. Remember, we're still talking about the principle of safety and security. So if your environment is a place whereby when mistakes are made, children are punished for it, then your children are not going to feel safe there. And consequently, your children are not going to thrive in such environments. Because before you can actually get to a point whereby you are competent, you are confident with something, you would have tried so many times, you would have made mistakes, learn from your mistakes, then move on. Are you with me? But then, if your environment does not accommodate mistakes as part of the learning process, then there's going to be a problem. It means that your children will not have the effrontery. They will not have that free will to try things, to try new things, because they do not want to make mistakes. And with that, children are not going to thrive as far as they are in their comfort zone. They are just comfortable with doing what they know how to do over and over again, and they are not trying new things. They are not going to thrive because they do not even understand, what it means to, try new things, make mistakes. Maybe they've been chastised for. There's no how. If, for example, now you're trying to learn how to do something, and you did it in public, or you did it and you make mistakes, and you're being, insulted, shamed, and all of those things, what is going to happen, parents? What is going to happen? You find it except if you already have that, that willpower to say no. Whatever it is that happens, I'm going to keep at this. I'm going to continue with it until I become better at it. If you do not have that, mindset already, and think about it, that's for even adults. For children who don't even understand what that means, what happens? They just give up because they always want, I always say something that has been, proven, that the first function of the brain of your child is to first keep them safe. The first function of the brain of your child is to keep them safe. It is when they feel safe, that is when they can learn. So we want children to learn so that they will be able to thrive. But then if we do not accommodate mistakes, there's going to be a problem. They are not going to learn. Because that brain is just what the brain is just going to be telling them is that you need to keep calm, you need to just be here, because if you make a mess, if you make a mistake, you're going to be in trouble. So just be there, just stay there. So that is the first function of the brain of your child. And that's why it hurts so much when even teachers that are supposed to understand all of these things, they're in a place whereby they hurt children because they're still finding it difficult to get a concept, to learn a concept. This is something that is very rampant. This is something that is very popular. However, as parents, we need to know. And this is what is also going to guide us to know, okay, yes, what are the things that I need to look out for when I want to take my child to a school, or when I want to put my child in a place of learning, a place of knowledge. So these are the questions you want to ask. And when you ask, you definitely get your answers. But then if you do not know, you will even be the one to say that, me, I'm not, sometimes when I was back in the country, and we have PTA meetings like that, and I hear parents say things like, me, I'm not part of those that will say that you should not chastise my child, you should not do this and do this. Me, I support it. I just look at them like this. You are killing your children if you don't know. Yes, that's exactly what you're doing. You're killing their brain. You're killing their ability to take initiatives. You're killing their ability to learn. So think about it. You need to be in a space. Yes, it's not always easy. I tell you, it is not always easy. When children break the plate, when they spill everything everywhere, but you need to know that mess is a part of the process. Mess is a part of the parenting process. If you do not allow your children to make that mess, then they won't become better at whatever it is that they do. Parenting is in the mess. You have to embrace the mess so that you enjoy their freedom later. You have to embrace the mess so that you enjoy their freedom later. This is something that is important. So you need to embrace that mess. So you don't want to be in a place whereby your child finds it reluctant to try new things. You always have to be in that place whereby you guide them. This is something that is important. You have to embrace, normalize mistakes if you actually want to have that environment that is safe and secure for your child. This is something that is important. Another system of safety is creating opportunities for your children. You need to create opportunities for your children, opportunities that are going to make them to learn. Don't forget, we're talking about how to raise children who are going to thrive at the end of the day. I shared, a story on my status this morning when I wanted to talk about today's topic. And you can see how ridiculous things are going. You can see how very ridiculous things are going. Why should we be in a space whereby we go through all of the stress of raising our children, we take them to the best of schools, we do all of those things that we're supposed to do, that we feel that yes, these are the right things that we're supposed to do, and at the end of the day, our children are taking up jobs from those who didn't even pass through school, who do not even have an iota of dignity and value, all because of money, all because they were raised by parents who didn't know the things that they are supposed to expose their children to. And that's why we say that your child will turn out based on whatever it is that you know as a parent. And that's why it pains a lot when parents come to that place of in your own understanding, you feel that whatever it is that you do as a parent, it is how do they say it again? Like whatever it is that you do, children are just going to be what no, they are just going to be what they are just going to be. No, it's not true. Because Allah has promised, Allah told us to tie our camel and put our trust in Allah and put our trust in Him. So you need to put your children in opportunities that you know that are going to be important to them. You don't want to make the same mistakes that you made. I like to tell people, yes, I'm here today. I studied accounting for, for how many years? For 4 years in school and all of those things and all of those things and all of those things. If I have been exposed to things that would have helped me early in life to understand that, okay, yes, you are very good at this, you know this, you are able to do this and all of those things, and I'm able to go through that path. Success is something that is going to come to us, easier than we have it now. Fulfilling purpose is something that will come to us easier than we have it now. So we need to create that system of opportunity for our children. You need to help them, to let them start to volunteer. You have a child who is 10, who is 11, let them start to volunteer. Let them know that being able to serve Allah through helping people is something that is very important. It is part of fulfilling purpose. It is something that is very important. Let them volunteer. Let them go for internships. Let them go for apprenticeship. Yes, that's the word. Let them go for apprenticeship. Let them understand how the world of work is. Let them understand how things work outside. Let's not just be in that space. It will be so ridiculous for us to just be in that place where we think that just sending our children to school and Islamiyyah is just enough for them. Yes, it's a very good thing. However, we need to think beyond that. If you actually want, don't forget, the topic is we want to raise children who thrive. We're not just raising children who survive. We're not just raising children of, okay, yes, finish school, get a job, look for a job. No, that's not what we're doing. We're not raising our own children. I don't know of any other person to finish and start looking for a job. We're raising children who are going to thrive, because those who are creating job opportunities, they are people too. Why shouldn't it be our children? Why should we continuously be in a space whereby we are molding our children, we're shaping our children in a way that they finish whatever it is, they finish schooling, then they now start looking for jobs? Why? This is something that is very important. Another system that we need to put in place for our children is failure. Yes, failure. I said that we are going to get there. There's a saying that if for the fear of failure one fails to try, then one has failed. Is there someone who can help me put that in the comment section? If for the fear of failure one failed to try, then one has failed. We have been raised with that, without mindset. It's so unfortunate that failure is something that we avoid, and we also avoid it for our children. We don't just avoid it for our children. We chastise our children, we hit our children, we do several things, we shame our children, all because they failed. Not knowing that it's a part of the learning process, and it is one thing that helps children to thrive. We all know the story of the light bulb, whereby the person who invented it tried 99 times and succeeded the 100th time. We all know that story of Thomas Edison and several other stories like that. We need to know that if we want to be in that space whereby children actually thrive, they need to try things and fail. If for the fear of failure, they fail to try, then they have failed without even trying. So what's now the point? Let them try, let them fail. From there, they will learn from it. It's just like mistakes. So we have been made to believe that failure is fatal, and it's that's the end. Once you fail, that's the end. No, that's not the end. That's the beginning, actually, because you are able to trace your step back and look at it. Okay, yes, why did I fail? Why did I sleep here? What do I need to do better to make this thing come out? Come out the way I want it to. This is why we see parents, like I said, they do certain things. It is because of a lack of knowledge. I hope that everyone listening to me here right now have invited one or two people to join us on this session, because of course this is a session that they should come and listen to. We need to leave the place of ignorance to raise children that are going to thrive. If we're always in the place of ignorance, then there's a problem. Don't forget, we're still talking about the second principle. We have a lot to still cover, right? So I'm going to run now, right? So we need to know that when we put our children in a place whereby they see failure as fatal and that's the end, then children are probably not going to thrive, because they will constantly find it difficult to try out new things. They will constantly find it difficult to fail. Once they hear that there's going to be failure, they are not going to even take a step at all, let alone doing that thing. We, because of that fear of failure, we do certain things that we do not even need as parents. The only thing we want to do is that we still want to keep outsourcing our responsibility. And that's why when a child finishes in school by 2 p.m., you tell the child to wait and do lessons till 4 p.m. Then when the child gets home at 4 p.m., the child will either go to madrasa, or the child will have a lesson teacher that is going to be waiting to teach that child. And like that, and you make the brain of the child heavy. The child is not even learning anything anymore. So we always want to be in that place whereby we outsource our responsibility. We get that lesson teacher. We bombard children with extra things that they do not even need, because we want to avoid failure. We don't want them to fail. We don't want them to fail. Well, all A's, all B's, and all of those things. This is something that is important. I'm not saying that we should leave children to fail, in their schoolwork. We're saying that we need to put the appropriate things in place, not things that is going to damage them again, not things that are going to, that are not going to help them. We need to actually put in place things that are going to help them if we really want to help them. Because a lot of the things that we do is not actually helping those children. It's just only, affecting them. Right. So we spoke about the first one, to be what? The principle of value over rules. We spoke about the principle of safety and security. And the third one that we're going to be talking about is the principle of responsibility. Principle of responsibility. Raising children with the ability to respond. Because responsibility, what it simply means is responsibility. The ability to respond is a core in raising children who thrive. When you do not allow your children to take responsibility, it simply means that other people are taking responsibility for them. So you have to make children to be responsible for themselves, and sometimes for other people around them, depending on what context, depending on whatever it is that we're talking about. So we need to raise children to be responsible, to have that responsibility. So there's a particular Harvard study that suggests that those who did chores early in childhood tended to develop stronger work ethics, independence, teamwork skills, and often experience greater career success and happiness later in life. This particular research has been it's been on for long. It's been I think in 2012 or 2013 research. But then this is something that we can see. I can see it. Because when you raise children to be responsible, they do not weary you. You're not always in that place where you're shouting, you're running. But first of all, you have to be responsible first, because it is part of your responsibility that will help you to put the things that you're supposed to put in place first. Before you can now say that, okay, yes, I want my children to be responsible. And that's why I can't relate to it when people start saying things like, my child, he doesn't want to do the chores, he doesn't want to do. How exactly, what system have you created exactly to make your child to be able to do that? Is it my network? Can you hear me? I can hear that someone is saying that the network. I think my own network is perfect here. Yes, I think my network is perfect here. So we need to understand that we need to raise children who are responsible. Stop bailing your children. You need to stop bailing them. And it starts from a very young age. A lot of time, people start asking questions like, okay, when should we start holding our children responsible for certain things and all of those things? The day you give birth to your child, they should start being responsible, because there's responsibility for each age. There's age appropriate responsibility, chores, and all of those things for your children. You want to be in a space whereby you want them to pack their toys when they finish using it. You want them to pack the plates when they finish it. That can start as early as 2 years, even earlier. It can start as early as that. So if you actually want to raise children with right, they need to be able to respond. They need that ability to respond. Right. So you want to begin to ask yourself if you are giving your children enough responsibility. You need to know that you should never be in that space whereby you are doing things for your children, the things that they can do for themselves, you are doing it for them. If you are doing that, you are bailing out your children and you're not doing them any good. We have lots of parents who come from the place of, the sufferness that I went through. I suffered because my stepmom raised me, or because this happened. And that sufferness, I do not want my children to go through it. Yes, we have parents who still say those things, but they do not know that what they do to their children with that is the service. So they want to do everything for their children. They want to hire mates to do everything for them. It is actually a disservice for them. You don't always want to be in a place whereby you bail your children. The things that they can do themselves, you want people to do it for them. You cannot raise children who are going to thrive, because come to think of it, even those who have the money that are trying to build something, it takes a level of responsibility and discipline for them to be able to push through whatever it is that they are trying to build. If it is businesses, anything at all you are trying to build, it takes a level of responsibility and discipline to be able to do that, to be able to do it effectively. This is something that we need to know. So you need to ask yourself, am I giving my children enough responsibility? Are they responding enough to what they are supposed to do? I was saying that I can't relate to the fact that you always want to run elter skelter for your children to do things. I can't relate to it. But if you run a home whereby there's nothing in place to guide your children, you will definitely always be there. You will always be in a place where your children cannot respond. They don't have the ability to respond because there's nothing to respond to. So a dependent child is a demanding child. And a demanding child is definitely going to be an entitled child. So you need to know that no matter how young your child is, if you keep bailing them out, if you keep taking responsibility for them and all of those things, they are going to be in a place of entitlement. And it's not just going to be, when they are young, even when they become adults, they will always be in that place of entitlement. That's where you hear children like say things like, my parents have so thing, but they did not give us, they did not do this, they did that. That's being entitled. If you raise children that are not responsible, that is what is going to happen. So children become irresponsible when we fail to give them the opportunity to take up the things, to take up responsibility. They become irresponsible. So it is your own place to actually put them in a place of responsibility. That's when they can actually respond. That's when they can have that ability to respond. And it is not always with fight, because that's another problem. We always want to be in a place whereby we're in control of everything. There are actually strategies to it. There are ways to do it. Right? So let children understand that they need to work. They need to serve people in order to be a part of life. That's it. They need to work. They need to be able to serve people in order to be a part of life. Except if you don't just want to be a part of life. Except if you just feel that all that matters is have money, spend it, lavish it, and life goes on like that. They need to know that they need that. They need to be able to work. They need to be able to serve other people. Yes, they'll serve other people. Because come to think of it, they will tell you that if there's a business or if there's anything at all that you're doing now and you're not solving people's problem, then what are you doing? That's what people will tell you. So even if you have come to that realization that, okay, yes, or you have come to that conclusion that, okay, yes, you have your own money, you want to start your own business, you want to do this, you're not going to work under anyone. The question people will start asking you is, what problem do you want to solve with whatever it is that you want to start doing? So you need to start to raise your children from that young age. But before they can actually thrive, they need to be able to work. They need to develop a good work ethic. And they need to be able to serve people in order to be a part of life. It is something that is very, 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 very important. Right. The next principle, I think this is the fourth one. Our time is running out. Is the principle of mentorship. The principle of mentorship. You need to expose children to mentorship. Exposing them to mentorship is a core in raising children who thrive. I said this before, and I think I made mention of it too, in our last just concluded course, that time, in this time that we are now, if you are talking about schooling, if you are talking about madrasa, if you are talking about those things that we already know and we're already used to, you need to also talk about mentorship. And this is why a lot of people complain about their teen children, their teenagers. And you hear things like they don't listen, they don't this. I said it before that a time will come in the stage that your child will get to. Once your time has that 2 digits, 10 years, you are no longer the most influential person in the lives of your children. You are the most important, yes, but you are not the most influential. So if you are always in that place whereby you are fighting, you are not using wisdom. You can't fight somebody to influence that person. Did you get that? You can't fight somebody to influence that person. Look at the people that you look up to today. Look at you as a person. Look at the people that you listen to. Look at the people that inspires you. They didn't fight you. They didn't insult you. They're just in that place whereby you respect them and they influence you. That's exactly it. So you need to put your children in a position whereby they are accountable to mentors. They have people who is guiding them. Okay, yes, this is what you should do. This is how you should do it. And it's not just you talking about it. If you're always the one only talking about it, they won't take it seriously or they won't see it as something that is important. And that's why. And what mentors, what coaches does is that they help those children to see the blind spots. So you might not be seeing certain things because you love your child so much, right? And you're not telling them to do certain things, or you're not telling them the things to do because you love them and that love is clouding your judgment. But then mentors will help them because yes, they love them. It might not be as much as the love, it's definitely not going to be as much as the love you have for them. So it helps them to see the blind spot. Yes, this child is doing this. No, that's not how it should be. They are giving this child finance to undo. It is too much for him, or it is too much for her. They are not talking from the place of hatred, of course, but from the place of guidance. So when your child gets to that age, you find it difficult, and that's why you struggle. That's another reason why people struggle, and people say things like, teenagers are difficult, teenagers are this thing. It will be difficult if you have not laid the right foundation, if you have not exposed them to the things that you should expose them to. While I was having my course on results coach, I had a colleague who happens to be mothers of teenagers, and she was saying something like, all of these things that we are learning right now, I wish that my teenagers can also learn the same thing and understand it. I said it's possible. It's just that the lessons might not come from you. Yes, it will come from you subtly, but then you need to put mentors in their lives. You need to put trusted adults in their lives. If you see people that come out now and tell you that, okay, yes, they succeeded, so thing, so, yes, their parents might be a major, yes, they will be a major, but then they will tell you that I had this person who guided me, I had this person who put me through, and all of those things. So the principle of mentorship is something that is important if you want to raise children who thrive, because they have seen far and wide, they have seen so many things, so it's easy for them to guide your children. Yoruba would say that, that ayo and all of those things will not make them listen to you. But there's nothing like that when it comes to intentionally putting trusted adults in the lives of your children. So you remain the most important person, but you're not the most influential person in the life of your child when they get to a certain age. So you want to introduce models to your children who are not you. Search for teen mentors. Technology has made it easier now. Let us tap into it. It is not just about what our children watch. It is not just about getting them devices and all of those things. There's more. There's more to raising children who actually thrive. People would definitely tell you. I was watching the video of a woman she was saying that she would see so many parents say things like, oh my God, this child is smart. This child is this child is that. It did not just come naturally to that child. It's because the parents have done something. Yes, the lady was also saying the same thing. It did not just come to us. It's because our parents knew better and they did better. So we need to always be in a place whereby we are knowing and we're able to do better. Right. The next one is the principle of education and learning over schooling. I've made mention of this while I was talking, but then it's still a principle. You need to know that for you to raise children who thrive in this climate, in this 21st century, it's not just about schooling. So stop worrying yourself about, I want my child to go to the best school, to the standard school. This is something that we worry ourselves on. I want them to go to the best school. I want them to do this. I want them to have the best thing. The stand. No. Yes, it's important if you can afford it. But don't kill yourself on these things. You see, a lot of the time we see things like, this person that won this particular competition is from the village, or is this, or is this, because they have been exposed to certain things that our own children that didn't come from the village aren't exposed to. So you need to know that education is not the same thing as schooling. Schooling is different. Education is different. Yes, you can get educated from school, but it is not the end. We make it look like that's just it. Once a child has it, he has this, there's more to it. We need to continuously place our children in a place whereby they fall in love. They are lifelong learners. They fall in love with learning, because that is continuous learning is what is going to help them to position from point A to point B. This is something that we need to know. If we're not continuously in that place whereby we see learning as something that should continue, and our children has also taken from that, seen that culture and taken from it, it's going to be very difficult. Because what happens? Children finishes school, they go for NYSC, they start seeking job, and that's all. And when they even get those jobs, they don't see it as, okay, yes, let me do more, let me do better. People believe that, okay, if you have not finished BSc, go for MSc, go for PhD, then no learning can. Of course, that's not even it in this time that we are now. You can continue to learn wherever it is that you are. So you want to tap into it. So raising children who thrive requires that you raise them with a growth mindset, a mindset of continuous learning over completing assignments, over completing homework. However, we won't be able to do this if our own mindset and character doesn't even preach the same thing. So the principle of education, a lot of the time, what excuses people give when they talk about parenting, you hear people say something like, you can do everything and everything that you know, and a particular child is just going to be the black sheep of the family. People say things like that to discourage people who are very intentional about raising their children. Of course, yes, because that's what I see it, to discourage them. They say things like, you can do everything, and that child who they have tagged as the black sheep of the family is still not going to become what you want them to become, and all of those things. You need to know that Allah has created us differently. This is something that we have learned from the Rasul, peace be upon him. The way he related with Abu Bakr is not the same way he related with Umar. We're talking about education. And now, if I'm talking about education, I'm not just talking about our children alone. Because there will be a level of learning that you have gotten to, that you have reached, that will help you to channel your energy to the things that matter for your children. So we need to know that it is not, the children have different parents. Yes, siblings should have different parents. You need to deal with each children based on their uniqueness, because children are unique. And the only way you will be able to do this is when you effectively learn also. When you are able to understand, okay, yes, this my child is emotional, this one is strong-willed. I can't deal with the way I deal with A, with the way I deal with B. I can't do the same thing. If you are in that place and you understand, it helps you to know how to deal with them. So you don't see one person as the black sheep of the family. You don't see it as everything that you are doing is not working or didn't work for this particular person. Because a child who you do not understand their temperament, you don't understand how they learn. What happens? That's where we derived our olodo from. This child is just olodo, he doesn't know anything. Meanwhile, that child learns differently from how other people learn. It's the same thing. So you always want to be in a place of knowledge. You always want to learn as the parent. You want to know about the personality of your children. You want to know about the temperament. You want to know about how they learn. You want to know their love language. You have two children, for example, one whose love language is gift item. Another one is just, word of affirmation. and you're always buying gifts for both of them, even if the one whose love language is word of affirmation would appreciate you, thank you, that child might not feel loved with that, because that is not the child's love language. So that's why parenting needs to be learned. It is not something that we can just say we want to do it anyhow. The latest slang, it has been heard for years, is just do what works for you. What works for A might not work for B. No, you can't do what works for you, because you're not the most important piece in this puzzle. Your child is. So you have to do something that works for your child. This is something we need to know as parents. If you actually want to raise children who thrive, if we don't want to raise children who are now going to have conflict at the end of the day, seeing it as mommy loves this one, he doesn't love me, she doesn't love me. The prophet, peace be upon him, he modeled this, to us as regard how he related with the rightly guided Caliph Abu Bakr and Umar. We all know Abu Bakr to be the meek one, the very gentle one, and all of that. And we know Umar to be the principled one. So they are definitely going to give their own different opinions when the prophet asks them about things. It doesn't mean that any of them is wrong, and they were still useful for Islam. So you want to look at it from that lens. You don't want to look at it from the lens of, oh, okay, this child is just the black sheep of the family. Only this child that doesn't listen. Only this child that doesn't do this. And that's why we always want to be in a place of knowledge. This is something that is important. Our children are man now on us. They are trust. So what are we going to say we have done to keep this trust? To guide them the way they should be guided. So a strong-willed child, for example, now you want to also, treat that way with that very strong-willed manner. Do you know what happens to that child? That child is going to go and explore in a negative way. That's going to go and, if you don't allow that child to explore positively in your own home. We're running late. I'm going to talk about the last principle, which is the principle of connection, communication, and conversation. The principle of connection, communication, and conversation. I would appreciate if someone can help me put that in the comment section. This principle helps to eliminate a sense of control, which leads to rebellion. You have to be in a space whereby you are connected, you communicate, and you are able to converse with your children. And that's why in our accountability system that is coming up, God willing, 2026, these are the things that we're going to put into perspective. You will definitely have tools for your children to connect with them, to communicate with them, to converse with them every day, inshallah. May Allah spare our lives. As soon as we announce this offer, please try as much as possible to be in this space, because it has been proven that there's nothing we can do. We always want to be in a place of knowledge, so that we can actually guide our children to be where they want to be where they should be. So the principle of connection, communication, and conversation is something that makes children to thrive. Go and ask people. If you see anyone that is doing so well, you feel that you look up to this person and all of that, go and ask them. Even if they didn't have that very, very, of course, no one had a perfect upbringing. They will tell you that they had people who they could communicate with, they had connection with, and all of those things that helps them. You don't have a connection with a child, you don't communicate, you don't converse with that child, nothing at all of such is happening. The only thing that you give to your child is this child goes to school and this child goes to islamiyyah. You cannot compare the results. And like people will say that someone who is trying to build a duplex and somebody who is trying to build a hut, they are both building a house, but then you can't compare the results. Definitely you can't. So you need to know that this principle is going to help to eliminate a sense of control that leads to rebellion. Relationship trumps control in parenting. If you have the right relationship with your children, there wouldn't be a sense of control that will make your children rebel. You need to know this. If you have the right level of relationship, the relationship that is required with your children are not going to feel controlled, let alone rebelling. So you need to know that shouting on top of your voice, talking over your children's head, it doesn't give you the results that you want. This is something we all know if you think it down. If we think that it is giving us the results that we want, we are damaging our children, because they are just in that space whereby they are just saying, let me just, I don't want trouble. Let me just, and it damages their self-esteem. We're not going to go there. We've spent over our time. We need to know that authority is not force and control. Like we always say, authority is not your ability to force your children or to control them. Think about it. Think about any leader that is striving. It is not because they are able to force you to do things. If you're working in an organization and you have a leader that you look up to, it is not because they're able to force you to do things or they are able to control you to do things. It is because of the love, the respect, and the trust that you have in them. So authority is not force and control, it is trust and respect. Before you can influence your children and you want them to listen to you, you must have built relationship with them. If you don't come from the place of relationship, you are going to lose it. You are going to get it wrong. So people only confide in the people that they trust, not the people that they fear. I'll take that again. People only listen to the people that they trust, not the people that they fear or people who force them to do things. This is something that we really need to look into. So raising children who thrive requires that we look at the whole of these principles and we start working with them. We start creating the things that we need to create in our homes. We start putting in place the things that we need to start putting in place. If we need an accountability system, let us try as much as possible to get one, because being accountable to one helps you to, get to wherever it is that you want to get to with your children. Right, we have spent more than our time and it's okay. I'm so sorry about that. We were supposed to use 1 hour, but of course we had a lot to talk about and a lot to cover, and I hope that you've gotten one or two things from this class today. I hope, like I'll always say and like I'll always end my session with, I hope that you're leaving this class with an action plan. Don't be like people who saw the link to this class and didn't join, right? Because if you didn't go, if you didn't leave this place with anything, if you're not going with an action plan, it's not going to be of any difference at all. So you want to try as much as possible to look into this and do the right things, right? Wherever it is that I have made any mistake, it's from me, and I pray that Allah forgives me. Whatever it is that I have made sense to you, and you've gotten some benefit, one or two, is definitely from Allah, and I thank Him for that. So this is where we're going to be ending today's session, right? So we'll meet again, inshallah, next week Friday, where we'll continue parenting session. I hope that you not just come alone, you come with your friends, you come with families, you come with other parents that you know that are going to, also need this. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for inviting people. Thank you for the reshare. Thank you for the repost. I saw everything and I appreciate everyone for that. I pray that Allah rewards you for it. Thank you so much for coming. So see you again next week, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.